All right, folks, I think it's time for me to tackle a My Chemical Romance review. I'm going to review My Chemical Romance's 2004 album, Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge, which basically came after I Brought You My Bullets, You Brought Me Your Love from 2002. They said that this one had a cleaner sound, it was a little bit more refined this time around, and it did have a series of hit singles. This definitely felt like some night venue type stuff and a more edgy version of Green Day, or Green Day kind of had the stuff within a concept album when they dropped American Idiot, but I definitely think this is a great alternative to the American Idiot album. This is definitely one of those. It's a little bit theatrical, kind of similar to like Panic at the Disco's. What's that record called? Like A Fever You Can't Sweat Out. So it's definitely, this album is pretty similar to A Fever You Can't Sweat Out. I definitely see the similarities in it. It's definitely an emo music and like alternative music staple, I would have to say. I'm pretty proud of like the concept of some of these projects coming out as far as that's kind of concerned. I definitely wanted to cover My Chemical Romance, see what they're about, kind of see the concept of some of these and just wonder like what's going on here, because like I said, I do feel like this is very similar to American Idiot. Kind of has that same kind of dramatic, kind of theatric type, emo type, rock type thing, and it really kind of does it well. I just feel like it's an extreme example of that, and the singles are pretty catchy, and a lot of these are pretty much intended for like a night venue sense. I would definitely have to say very similar to American Idiot with songs like Holiday and the title track and some of those type records. I definitely feel like there's songs on here like Helena and Thank You for the Venom that just sound perfect, especially in the mid 2000s for some sort of music venue and night venue and sports bar and those type places where you get like nachos and chicken wings and that type stuff. I definitely would have to say works pretty well. Easily kind of like a college campus type stuff. There's plenty of places where you could kick back and just relax a bit and just enjoy like the music and the pub crawls and that type stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the singles here. Um, the first single is I'm Not Okay, I Promise, and this one came out in the fall of 2004. And I really feel like this is pretty much, yeah, so I'm Not Okay, I Promise is basically like a song intended for like, to me, this seems like a song that you'd listen to on the way to like a night venue, something like that. Kind of just got off work, kind of got a chip on your shoulder a little bit. Just kind of like, hey, I need to let off some steam, maybe hit up the gym, maybe get like a drink from like Burger King, something like that, then head out to the night venue and kind of have a good time, meet up with your friends and that type of stuff. Definitely kind of feel like that's an approaching angle. The hook is pretty inescapable. It's definitely a pretty rock solid hook. I feel like between this and American Idiot, this the song between this and the song American Idiot by Green Day, I feel like both of these are pretty extensive like mid 2000s like emo rock and that type of stuff, so it definitely works in that sort of valve just to be able to have some more of that. I do feel like this is like the sister album or the cousin album of American Idiot, and it just is good that they had these fun singles that just made so much electricity and noise and just be able to do it. So it's definitely kind of the thing. I see that one working extremely well. The second single is well, I guess this is kind of like in the UK, this was the second single. It wasn't the second single in the United States, but the second single in the just overall was Thank You for the Venom. And this to me really feels like a house party song. Definitely something that you'd listen to. It can be played at a night venue. I could definitely see it being played there, kind of where the pace gets a little bit more picked up. It's a little bit, I feel like Helena's a little bit crazier than Thank You for the Venom, but they're both about the same pitch. Both of these songs are both night venue, house party kind of sense, just being able to have like a nice alternative gig kind of going and just kind of seeing some of that. So I do appreciate that on there. These hooks, all of these hooks are really good. I mean, I really like them. Probably the hook I liked the least was The Ghost of You, but I do like the first three singles hooks. I'm Not Okay, Thank You for the Venom, and Helena. These all have like really kind of this catchy and earworm kind of alternative rock type hooks in there. This really sounds like something that a more kind of moody version of Blink 182 would do. And then the third single is Helena. This one I definitely feel like can be played at like a night venue. I would definitely have to say that one gives off those kind of vibes to me. Definitely gives off those kind of vibes to me. I like the concept that they were stepping out and having a good time, because really on the Green Day album it kind of switched when it went to songs like Boulevard of Broken Dreams and Jesus of Suburbia. Some of those were not, but I did like the fact that most of this album kind of had like venues in mind and sports bars and place, Wingstop, those type places where you get some food and just overall have a good time and hear some music and flirt and that type of stuff. So it's good. Kind of get that. I mean, like I said, all these hooks are really nice. I feel like they are pretty effective and just nail the concept. I definitely can listen to all three of these on like a wicked night out. But I do feel like Helena is kind of more of like the music venue kind of place where you'd be at like a pub or something and hear that kind of music. And Ghost of You is kind of the different single out of the four of these. I did like it also. It's kind of gloomy, but I did like the concept of kind of getting like a power ballad. Maybe not so much a power ballad, but just kind of one of those post grunge esque type songs, where it just feels like you're in the car, you're in some sort of long drive, something like that, and you're just kind of in like a bemoaning kind of mood, kind of this real like just kind of whiny, just like some of those post grunge songs like Puddle of Mud do and Creed do and some of those type folks. It's not quite as like over the top as some of those bands, but I do feel like it's like an emo rock version of like that sort of post grunge type feel and alternative metal. So it's just interesting kind of get like a small sliver of a taste of alternative metal in there, but it is a nice one just to kind of see that. So I do like this song. This has a real kind of post grungy type feel, just in an emo sense. That's a pretty nice one. So the rest of this album, I kind of feel like is a mixed bag, just because there's a lot of songs on here towards the end that I just didn't like the arrangements and kind of I feel like the instrumentation and the way that some of these riffs were and like the verses and just how it was supposed to be in a song just were really not that attractive. Like I feel like the Jet Set Life is going to kill you and Cemetery Drive are kind of some ones where I couldn't get really into the production on there, and like Hang 'em High was just a real messy kind of just not arranged really well type song. I feel like compared to some of these, like Helena just did it better. I mean, Hang 'em High was kind of trying to be like a lesser version of Helena, and maybe like Thank You for the Venom, but I couldn't quite. The riffs were just not as interesting in Hang 'em High, and then it's the same thing with I Never Told You What I Do for a Living, but and go ahead and recommend the 7 songs out of 12 I recommend to you. So the 7 songs would be I'm Not Okay, I Promise, Helena, Thank You for the Venom, Give 'em Hell, Kid, you know what they do to guys like us in prison. You know what they do to guys like us in prison, To the End, and The Ghost of You. So yeah, those are the songs I recommend. I would have to say like some of these like I really liked like To the End, and both Give 'em Hell Kid and To the End are some more ones that are very similar to Helena and Thank You for the Venom. I mean, all of these just really feel like just a complete electric, the roof flying off the top of the venue type. This in that turn in those sorts of terms of just festivities, the roof kind of popping off the top of the venue just because of how lit it is. I kind of feel like that's kind of the concept there. It just, I mean, there's some real encouraging moments for night venues and that type stuff. And then I would also have to say there's like one other song here. Which one was it? Like you know what they do to guys like us in prison. Yeah, this song, You Know What They Do to Guys Like Us in Prison, is another one that's kind of pretty much intended for like stepping out a bit. And I do like how the verse switches up in the second verse. This makes it a little bit more exhilarating, like the night's getting crazier as the song progresses, that type stuff. It really does kind of feel that the part of the song in the first verse kind of reminds me of like Take Me Out by like I think Franz Ferdinand or something like that. Very similar to that song, and like at least the production in the first verse definitely like that. It's had a very similar type atmosphere towards it. But I just liked all of these. The first 6 songs on this album are just a blast to listen to. The first 5 songs, all 5 of the songs prior to The Ghost of You, basically have like a complete this ravenous stepping out, having a great time type feel, definite for Thursdays, Fridays, that type stuff. And then The Ghost of You switches it up for like kind of a mid-tempo post-grunge type feel, and then Thank You for the Venom's another night venue gig. So that's just kind of the concept. I definitely liked all of these, and it's really like I have to consistently continue to say that it's a great alternative to Green Day's American Idiot. I definitely feel like you need to get these as like a 1-2 punch. If you could only get two albums, if you could get like American Idiot and then you said I need one more album to kind of couple with that, I would definitely recommend this album. Just these are like a 1-2 punch. It goes together like salt and pepper. This is kind of the concept. So I'm gonna give this album me liking 7 out of 12 songs. I'm gonna go ahead and give this album like a 7.25 out of 10. I feel like it's pretty damn solid. Definitely as far as that's concerned. I liked all the singles, but like I said, there was like 5 songs on here that I wasn't quite a fan of. I felt like just a little bit more. I mean, it really had a good emphasis. Just it was just kind of right to the point. I mean, it's just a direct album, just a shot in the arm as far as like alternative rock music's kind of concerned. It's good, but this was about like a little bit above average in terms of songs that I liked. If it had been 8 or 9 out of 12 that I liked, I would have definitely raved about it because I want to say that's what happened with Green Day's American Idiot. So I would say Green Day's American Idiot's a little bit better, but this is definitely like an accompaniment to it. And I definitely think you might as well get both of these when you step out and want to get these albums. That's definitely kind of the thing. 7.25 out of 10. The social score I'm going to give basically like an 8. I'm going to go ahead and give the social score an 8 out of 10 because like half the album, 6 out of 12 songs are really for stepping out and 3 of those are singles. It's just a really fun project. It really gives off the kind of emo stepping out and alternative stepping out and like scene stepping out type feel of like the mid 2000s. It's definitely like a fashion statement of an album and definite like it's kind of I want to say it's like a milder case of iconic as far as that movement kind of went around this time. This is definitely one of the showstoppers that did it, so I would definitely have to say that there. So 8 social. In terms of the future, like apparently I don't know enough about My Chemical Romance, but apparently like they have not really apparently they have apparently about My Chemical Romance, they have not been around in a while since at least 2010 or 2013 or something. So they did drop a song. They at least dropped a single last spring. I remember that coming out, but I didn't mess with it because I was waiting for the album, but they didn't drop the album. So hopefully they come back and do some more stuff. But until then, I'm going to review a few more of these. But this is definitely worth it. And like I said, I would definitely look into this with American Idiot.